Hello there, and welcome to the CBT Nuggets training series entitled Oracle Database 11G Administration 2, Oracle Certified Professional, or OCP. My name is Tim Warner, and I'm happy and grateful to be your instructor for this series. Our agenda for this introductory nugget is as follows. I'm going to go over with you the Oracle Certified Professional certification track and explain to you exactly how it works. And those of you who are watching this nugget series with the goal of being certified, I think it's important, it goes without saying almost, that you're armed with exactly what the process is and what it means to you professionally. We'll then turn our attention to the course outline. I will let you know how I designed the course and give you some practical tips and tricks on how you can best leverage it, both to gain a deeper and broader understanding of Oracle Database, as well as, of course, pass your OCP exam. That's actually how we'll finish this introductory nugget. We'll do a deep dive in the 1Z0053 DBA2 exam itself. Oracle is pretty transparent about how their exams are structured, so we won't be violating any non-disclosure agreements or NDAs. Let's get to work. The Oracle Certified Professional program is structured in tiers, similarly to how Cisco organizes their certification. The OCP is what's called a mid-tier certification. As a matter of fact, as I'm going to demonstrate to you in a moment when we go out onto the Oracle University website, you actually have to already be an active Oracle Certified Administrator in order to qualify for the Oracle Certified Professional credential. This pyramid is well-founded. In other words, the idea is you have to have your base or your foundation in place before you move to higher levels. There's actually a level that's higher than Oracle Certified Professional that's called the Oracle Certified Master. That obviously is beyond our scope. I'm not sure if you're aware of this. I hope you are. But for those candidates who are not yet OCAs, I have you fully covered, especially if you're a Nugget Streaming subscription subscriber. I would encourage you strongly to check out my training series on both the SQL Fundamentals 1 test as well as the Oracle Database 11G DBA1 test. That way you can get the OCA under your belt and then be well placed for this training. So as I said, the base requirement for the OCP level certification is having the OCA or the Oracle Certified Administrator title in hand and have that certification be active. You also have to pass the 1Z0053 DBA2 exam. Obviously, that's a computer-based test, just like the vast majority of any IT certification test. The third requirement is one that, unfortunately, I'm just going to level with here, is a requirement of the Oracle program. It also is a hallmark of some other IT certifications. In particular, VMware also has a training class requirement. Now, just between you and me, I'm giving you everything you need to know to pass the OCP exam in this training series. So a very likely and obvious and intelligent question on your part is, why do I have to do an in-person or online training class for OCP candidacy? And Oracle will tell you it's so you have the necessary subject matter under your belt. I will tell you, well, that's partially true, but primarily it's another revenue stream for these companies, Oracle, VMware. It's a pet peeve of mine. Perhaps I'll blog about it on the CBT Nuggets blog. So if you don't subscribe to the CBT Nuggets blog yet, please make sure you're doing that, because we trainers do periodically post, that is to say, vent our frustrations in that particular space. I can hardly count how many times I've been asked by industry colleagues or students or whomever specific details of IT certification programs. My stock answer is the same answer I'm going to give you right now. Please see the vendor's own website, because to me there's no greater source of information. To that end, I've brought us out onto education.oracle.com. This is what Oracle calls their Oracle University website, and it's a portal for their certification and training products. So it's really an e-commerce site, but we can leverage it for our purposes to learn all the finer points and details about the Oracle certification program. Oracle is really an intelligently designed site. It's a little bit content heavy. As you see, there's a lot going on. What you'll want to do is come up into this hover menu, and under training you'll see a subsection for certification programs. Let's go under certification paths and specifically come right at the top here. We'll look at their database. Now, of course, Oracle has gotten into the acquisition game over this past last several years, they've purchased a lot of middleware and application server and storage system products. They've broadened or diversified their portfolio, to use the $10 term. But in this training, of course, we're concerned with their flagship Oracle Database 11g product. And here we have direct links to each level in their certification portfolio: Associate, Professional, and Master. Well, we're going to click the Professional link, and that takes us to this flowchart. And I'm just basically restating what I told you in the previous whiteboard slide. We have the prior certification requirement of OCA. There's a link to check out the Oracle approved instructor-led online or in-class courses, and then there's the exam specifically that we're preparing for in this Nugget series. You have to send Oracle proof that you completed the training requirement, and then after you have all of those ducks in the row, you become an Oracle 11g Administrator Certified Professional. Now let's come back to the whiteboard and let me explain how you can best use this course to accomplish your goals. As I always do with every CBT Nuggets title that I develop, I map the course to every single exam objective. I am not only a technical trainer and an IT professional, but I'm also a test taker. I take certification exams and pass them all the time. Therefore, I understand that it's crucial as a student that I have trust in the learning materials I choose, that those learning materials are going to cover comprehensively every bullet point or sub-bullet point on a particular exam's blueprint. So rest assured that I've taken that exam blueprint and mapped every single piece of content on it. As a matter of fact, let me come back to our browser and let's bring up that blueprint itself, and I'll show that to you. Here is the exam page for the Oracle Database 11g Administration 2 test, and Oracle gives you a really nice list here of exam topics. At first blush, you might be thinking, well, that is a lot of topics, and that's absolutely correct. What I will typically do when I construct my CBT Nuggets outline is go heading by heading and structure my nuggets using the actual heading names in the exam blueprint. This gives you, I hope, as a student, some security, knowing that you're going to be covered comprehensively with that subject matter. Now, other elements about this course that you should know of. This is an advanced level training course, and I am going to assume that you have either the OCA certification under your belt or equivalent knowledge. Now, I just showed you the blueprint. There is so much material to cover at the OCP level that it would just be crazy and redundant to go back and cover all of the OCA material. So again, I just want to double underline that if you are fuzzy at all with Oracle's implementation of SQL or any of the topics, the foundational topics that are covered in the DBA 1 skill set, please go back and watch my series and make sure you're specced up on that material, because I'm just going to have to go from a standpoint that you know that stuff, and then we're going to build upon it from there. Another suggestion I have is that unless you have a compelling reason not to, I would advise that you watch the Nugget videos sequentially in order. Now, if you're already coming in with a tremendous amount of Oracle experience and you just want to brush up on new features, maybe some specific product features that you have historically been fuzzy on, then by all means jump right into the mix and watch the videos in any order. But as I said, watching them in order is going to give you some nice benefits, because as an instructor, I structure my training as a cumulative kind of deal. Deal being a technical term that we educators use, right? Just kidding. In other words, stuff that we learn, new concepts in earlier nuggets, is going to be assumed in later nuggets. So if you just start in a later nugget, you'll be thinking, well, what's Tim talking about here? But had you watched the nuggets from the beginning, you would be fully on page with those concepts because we had covered them comprehensively earlier. Secondly, I like to cross-reference different nuggets. That is, in a later nugget, I may explicitly call out subjects that we've covered in an earlier nugget. Vis-a-vis in an earlier nugget, I call forward or cross-reference topics that are yet upcoming in the menu. So there's a really nice fluidity in the table of contents, and by the time you reach the end of the training, you're really going to have an intricate web of knowledge that you can carry forward into passing your OCP test, or frankly, just serving as an Oracle administrator in the field. Alrighty then, so at this point we understand a thing or two about Oracle certification and how those programs are structured. We also know a bit about how I structured the CBT Nuggets course and gave you some tips and tricks on approaching the material from a student's point of view. Let's conclude this nugget with the discussion of the exam specifically. The ID that we're concerned with is 1Z0053, and this DBA2 exam is, like the other exams in the Oracle track, spec a computer-based proctored test. Computer-based meaning, well, you take it on a computer. Proctored mean you actually have to show up at an authorized testing center in order to take the test. The SQL Fundamentals 1 exam, you might remember, Oracle works on an honor system where you can actually sit for that exam anywhere where you have an internet connection. The 052 DBA1 and the 053 DBA2 tests, you actually do have to schedule an appointment with a local testing center. More on that in just a moment. Oracle, as I said earlier, is really good about publishing exam metadata. Some exam vendors are more cryptic than others. I like, personally, the fact that Oracle lets us know things like number of questions, passing score, all of that kind of stuff right on the front end so that it minimizes the number of surprises with which we have to deal when we do get to the testing center. Speaking of testing centers, exam registration is handled through Pearson VUE. Pearson VUE is one of two IT certification exam registrars. There are really just two de facto registrars in the world. Of course, there's Pearson VUE and there's another one called Prometric. Now, it used to be years ago that IT certification vendors would partner with both of these companies and then give the candidate a choice as to which one to use. Now, of course, there's not going to be a difference in price. The exam registration fee will be the same. They try to make the split as equitable as possible. It's just that some training centers may have a VUE center and not a Prometric center, and vice versa. Unfortunately, over the last few years, IT certification vendors have become more specific or more selective and have partnered exclusively with one or the other. A good example of that is Microsoft, who has partnered 100% with Prometric, and Oracle, which has partnered with Pearson VUE. So it's just something to keep in mind. Back onto the web, I wanted to revisit the exam topic question, and let's take a closer look at the specific topics, and then we'll come back to exam registration, and I'll speak a little bit more about that and exam metadata. Now, looking at this topic list, besides just the overwhelm factor because there's so much material in the outline, I want us to look for general trends. Whereas the SQL Fundamentals exam dealt 100% with, you guessed it, the use of the structured query language, and the DBA1 skill set was really quite broad and intentionally designed to give you a broad understanding of the fundamentals of Oracle Database 11g. We're going to see that the OCP exam topics are much more specific. They concentrate on 2 or 3 core subjects of the Oracle DBA, and they really do have tremendous real-world import. Now, you'll see we have an opening topic of database architecture, which is actually some overlap with the DBA1 objectives, and then we get into automatic storage management, or ASM, which is definitely beyond the scope of the DBA1 training. So that's a storage-related subject. We then get hot and heavy into recoverability and the Oracle Recovery Manager, or RMAN tool. By the end of this training, you're going to be expert with using RMAN. RMAN is Oracle's in-box or built-in backup and recovery tool, and it's absolutely critical that you master the use of this tool prior to sitting for your OCP test. So we have a nugget on configuring backup specs, using RMAN to create backups, performing your own user-managed backups using non-Oracle tools. Then the other side of things, recovery with RMAN, duplicating a database, doing point-in-time recovery, RMAN. So if it hasn't jumped out at you yet in Technicolor, let me say that the subject of disaster recovery is the biggest topic on the OCP blueprint. Absolutely, bar none, at least 50% of the exam, if not more, is going to be all about backup and restore operations. And I hope that comes as good news to you, because if you have any experience as any kind of a DBA, not just an Oracle one, you understand the absolutely crucial importance of mastering backup and restore in a database environment. We then get into performance tuning and troubleshooting. We have a nugget on monitoring and tuning RMAN, managing memory, managing database performance, storage and space management, managing resources, and then we get into automation a little bit by using the scheduler, which is the batch job or cron job equivalent in Oracle Database 11g. Thus, we have as our first topic disaster recovery, our second topic performance tuning and optimization, and third topic automation. So that is the blueprint in a nutshell. Coming back to the subject of exam registration and exam metadata, we see also on this exam page, right at the top, we have the exam number and the exam price. Now, the price is going to be localized depending upon your country. The USD amount for the exam is $195. It's just been a gradual upward trend. It seems no matter what the IT certification vendor, the cost of their exams tends to go up over time. It's just the way it is. Also know, although you should know because you're an OCA, that this price affects just a single take of the exam. If you do not pass the exam and need to re-register, that's another $195 USD. And again, that's where it starts getting into being a revenue stream for Oracle. Whatever, it's just the way it is. Duration 120 minutes, number of questions 78. So you can do the math in terms of determining how many minutes you have per question. In my opinion, that's a pretty nice division, and Oracle is not trying to artificially inflate the complexity of their exam by giving you a short exam duration and or a high number of questions. Note also the very low passing score, 66%. Very surprising that Oracle would put the passing score at that level. That's a lot lower than what you have with many other certification vendors. Now, that having been said, you should consider yourself lucky if you get 67% because these Oracle tests are incredibly difficult, even for seasoned Oracle professionals. This is where we get into the subject of test-taking skills in addition to just having your plain old garden variety subject matter knowledge. As we go through this training course, I'm going to periodically give you some of those test-taking skills, and I'm going to call out subject matters in the outline that are more likely than others to show up on the test, as well as how they'll show up on the test. If I were to think of a criticism of the Oracle Database 11G exams, it's that they tend to be a little bit too picky. Oracle tends to focus on very specific situations. I think Oracle's answer to that is we have a reasonable passing score. Finally, we have a registration link here, and this gives you all the information you need to know about purchasing a voucher. Basically, the workflow is like this. You can register for your exam in one of three ways. You can contact Pearson VUE or go to the Pearson VUE Bridge page. It's pearsonvue.com/Oracle. I'll open that in another window. You can buy your voucher directly from Oracle, and what this is going to do is you pay your money and Oracle will give you a registration code, and then you go through the e-commerce engine at the Pearson VUE page, but instead of paying again, you simply supply your voucher code. A little bit redundant. Frankly, I would just go straight to the Pearson VUE site myself. The third way is if you have an Oracle testing center in your region, which I certainly hope you do, you can call them and register through them. But frankly, by doing that, they're just going through the wizard at Pearson VUE for you. So of these three workflow procedures, I would recommend that you go to the Pearson VUE site, pearsonvue.com/Oracle, locate a test center before you pay the money, make sure that you have one reasonably located, and then go ahead and schedule. As you see, you can reschedule a test as long as you give VUE adequate notice, and so on and so forth. Let's review what we learned in this introductory nugget. We started with Oracle certification and understanding where the OCP fits into that hierarchical tiered certification model, as well as specifically how the exam works, the 1Z0053 test. At this point, you should understand all of the major elements of it, from the table of contents or blueprint of the exam to details of registration, as well as metadata, how many questions, how long you'll have to take the test, etc. We also spent, I'd say, the majority of our time learning about how this course is structured, how it maps to every single OCP certification exam objective, as well as tips and tricks on how to approach the material for maximum benefit. At this time, put on your thinking caps, fasten your seatbelts. We're going to have a really good time. I'm very excited to teach you this material. It's going to be intense, but it's going to pay off in spades for you, I'm sure. I hope that this has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.